I embarrassed my husband in front of random strangers after I found out he ditched me on Valentine's Day to spend time with his abusive mother. It all began that day, a cold and ordinary February 14th, the kind of day where most couples would indulge in roses, chocolates, and all the stereotypical Valentine's Day clichés. My husband, a quiet, steady man who worked long hours at a job he seemed to tolerate, was no different in the way he normally approached the holiday. We weren't the type to go out of our way for a grand gesture. Our routine was simple. A quiet evening, just the two of us on the couch, cuddling and watching a movie. It worked for us. We didn't need the fanfare. But this year felt different. We had a 6-month-old daughter, and that brought a new dynamic. There was this subtle but palpable sense that everything should be just a little more special, a little more intentional. So, when my husband told me the night before that he would have to work a shift on Valentine's Day, I tried not to let it bother me too much. He'd been at the same job for 9 years, his schedule was predictable, and I had to acknowledge the reality of his work life. It was a blow, sure, but I understood. His boss had apparently asked him to pick up an extra shift due to short staffing, and his shift was set to run from 10 a.m. to 8 p.m. I tried to be the supportive wife, brushing off my irritation. We'd get through it, I reasoned. It wasn't like we needed a big celebration to feel loved. We had a small family now, and that was enough. I just wanted us to be together, even if it meant that it wouldn't happen on that exact day. The morning started out quietly. I was getting ready to leave for a quick errand. My car was at the shop and I needed to pick it up. It wasn't a big deal. The walk wasn't far, only a quarter of a mile, and I had our daughter in her stroller. I thought nothing of it, just another task to tick off my list. After getting my car from the shop, I decided to swing by the gas station nearby to fill up. There's a small restaurant attached to the gas station, and I thought I'd grab a quick bite while I was out. That's when I saw it. My husband's truck. Parked right outside. Now, it's important to know that my husband worked about 45 minutes away in the opposite direction. So, even if it was his lunch break, there was no way he could have made it to this restaurant in such a short time. My curiosity piqued. I walked inside and there they were. My husband, sitting at a table with his mother. At first, I thought I was mistaken. Maybe I had miscalculated his work schedule or something. But no. It was him and it was her, his mother. The same woman he had promised just a month earlier that we would go no contact with due to the violent incident she had caused with our daughter. I still remember the red mark on our baby's cheek. The one that had been left by her hand after she slapped our daughter across the face. My daughter, 6 months old at the time, had simply bitten down on her arm as she was teething. The slap had left me horrified, and I couldn't understand how my husband had allowed this to happen. We had agreed after that incident that she would not be around our daughter again. Ever. So when I saw him sitting there, calmly eating lunch with her, a mixture of rage and betrayal surged through me. I couldn't help myself. I walked over to their table, stood there for a moment, just staring at him. He didn't seem surprised to see me, but he did stand up quickly, his face pale. "I'm sorry," he said. "I just wanted to have lunch with my mom for Valentine's Day." I was livid. The betrayal cut deep. I looked at him, then at his mother, and the words escaped me before I could stop them. "So, you want to have lunch with the woman who hit our infant daughter across the face?" I didn't care if other people were listening. I didn't care about anything but the raw, exposed emotion flooding my body. I turned, walking out of the restaurant without another word, pushing the stroller with my baby in tow. But he followed me. Of course he followed me. He always did. Outside, as I reached my car, he tried to explain. "It's not like I'm letting her around our daughter," he said, his voice tight with frustration. "I shouldn't have had to lie to you about having lunch with my mom to begin with. This is pathetic. You've made a scene." I didn't even look at him. Instead, I climbed into my car, starting the engine and throwing him a final look. "I'd be more embarrassed that you're spending time with a child abuser," I muttered, and then drove off. I should have stopped there, but I was so enraged that I didn't. I couldn't just let it go. I went straight to our joint bank account and froze it. A quick glance at recent transactions showed me a $400 charge from an antique store. His mother's favorite. So, he had taken her shopping too on top of everything else. My hands trembled with fury as I froze the account. It wasn't even just about the money. It was about everything. My husband lying to me, betraying me, and more importantly, abandoning his own daughter. I had every right to be angry. I worked full-time and I made more than he did. I had earned every penny in that account. And now, after everything, I was expected to just accept his lies, his choices, his disregard for our daughter's safety? I called my best friend to vent, to unload. My voice was tight with anger as I explained everything that had just happened. But when I finished, she told me I was being overdramatic. She said I should have handled it privately, that making a scene wasn't the way to solve things. Her words stung more than I expected, and I was left standing there, in the middle of a storm I had no idea how to calm. As if to add insult to injury, I went back home, expecting a confrontation. Instead, he was still gone, of course. I decided I would leave him a message, not for his ears but for mine. I needed to make sure I wasn't the only one who saw the truth of what had just happened. And that was when I saw the last straw. As I rifled through our things, my eye caught a document, a bill for therapy sessions he'd been attending. I wasn't naive. I knew he was seeing someone, but what shook me was how long this had been going on. He had been seeking therapy about his relationship with his mother, all while making excuses for her actions and neglecting his own family. I couldn't stay in this lie any longer. I knew then that I had to make a decision, and there was no going back. The more I thought about it, the clearer it became. He had chosen her.